how to fix LCP issues in Google Search Console. LCP stands for Largest Contentful Paint. Looking at Search Console Core Web Vitals report, the insights I'll share with you will work whether you're looking at a problem for mobile device usage or desktop device usage. And if there are largest contentful paint issues shown in poor URLs, then we need to fix that. Because this report is actually coming from Google Chrome user experience data. That means it's coming from people who used Google Chrome. That's why they are very important to fix. So now let's fly through it. Looking at LCP issue, Search Console will show us some examples. These are grouped URLs. Basically, it'll give you an idea as to what parts of your website is having problem. Let's imagine e-commerce sites, usually product URLs. In my example, it's blog posts. So what I can do is press on the example URL. Let's open the URL first to see, okay, what is on this landing page? Analyze it to see if there are any problems. Because we're looking at a mobile report, what we can do on our keyboard is press on F12 and then press on Mobile Device Emulator. So LCP issue in this example, Google Search Console is saying, for us to display the main area of the landing page, it has taken more than 2.5 seconds. Then we have a tool here called Page Speed Insights. So we can press on that and analyze our problem URL. Let's analyze. As we can see, the assessment has failed. And here it says largest contentful paint. If we press on that link, we can learn more about it. But if you don't have that experience, it could be cumbersome to understand what in the world this is and how to fix it. So now let's take a look at the audits for LCP. Here, Page Speed Insights will kind of guide you as to what the problem is on your landing page. So what you'll see here will be different. Some of these insights you'll be able to use as an implement and optimize, and some of them could be challenging that will require perhaps you hiring a developer. But one way or another, I'll share with you easy tips and insights. Let's imagine you're using WordPress content management system. There are many caching plugins that can assist with largest contentful paint. Let's imagine you're using Shopify. Then there are many different apps that may assist with largest contentful paint. Now, looking at these sample examples in Page Speed Insights, many people get this confused because Page Speed Insights shows us some examples here. But looking at this example, this is not the problem per se. The problem is, I'm going to open up the source code of this landing page just to show you. The way the browser renders a landing page is that it analyzes the code, entire code. And for a browser to display this part, it had to calculate the code. So that calculation has taken more than 2.5 seconds for the largest contentful paint area. That's what the problem is. That's why the plugins or apps may aid fixing that problem, because it will speed up your website. Also, let's imagine your web server is a shared server and it doesn't perform well. Then updating the web server to a faster one and better one could actually help with LCP issues as well. Then what else we can do? So right now I've shared with you basic insights. Basically, look at what's on the landing page and ask yourself, okay, let's imagine you operate an e-commerce site and you have product gallery images. Let's say you've got 10 of them, 10 images. Ask yourself, you know what can you do with 5? And then, because images are often heavy, what you want to do is identify the area. In this example, the computed area is only 610 pixels. But if that image was, let's say, 2000 pixels, that's a very heavy image that I shouldn't use. I should reduce it. So you can easily optimize your images as well. PageSpeed Insights may suggest to you to use next-gen formats such as WebP. Yeah, okay, but the savings and the effort that's needed to update the entire images, that could not be ideal when fixing LCP issues. Because if you follow the insights for optimizing landing pages, such as using caching plugins or apps, then you probably don't need to change the entire images on your website. But rather say, is that image too large? If so, simply reduce the size without changing the format. And sometimes there are some image optimization plugins. The best thing that you can do is just resize the image, because you don't want to lose the quality of your images as well. So then what else can we do? Simply look at the plugins that you're using. If there is a lot of them, perhaps you want to reduce some of them, because each plugin or app is burdening your page load times. Then next, use caching plugins. Then double check the images that you have on your landing pages. And if you have too many images or too many videos, ask yourself, you know what, can you shave down some of them? So instead of using, let's say, 10, use 5. Or instead of using 5, perhaps use 3, and so on. And then reduce the image size. That's the basic level. But what if PageSpeed Insights show you a report saying LCP issue longer than 4 seconds, whether it's mobile or desktop? So now I'll show you advanced methods. It'll be for WordPress, but you can follow the same process for Shopify or even different content management systems. So now what we'll do is, using Google Chrome Web Developer Toolbar, let's look at coverage report. So I'll share some tips and insights with you right now. If you're logged into your own website, then perhaps you want to use incognito option, because you may see different things. Looking at coverage, simply request the landing page. You can press on the refresh, empty cache and hard reload. Here you will see CSS files that's being loaded and JavaScript files that's being loaded. Great place to optimize the page load times is the CSS, especially if we are using CSS libraries or JavaScript libraries. Okay, that's the landing page. The CSS is inline. So now I can see, you know what, there's 33% not used. Looking at this bundle.client.css, 40% is not used. So now, understanding that there are apps out there that help you to see what's being loaded. Okay, so I'll show you the Chrome extension called CSS used. So let's look at this one here. So let's refresh the page. And actually we need to restart the web developer toolbar. Look at elements. Now we can see what CSS is used. I can copy that, open up a notepad or even a CSS style, and now you know what is used on that landing page. I can remove this and say, you know what, that's WordPress internals. And here that extension has shown us what is used from what style sheet. As we can see, from that style sheet, this was used. So now you want to double make sure that you check the mobile version as well and refresh, because perhaps different styles are loaded for mobile. So you want to find what they are and then double check things accordingly. So now let's remove the internals. So at this moment, if what I'm showing doesn't make sense, then perhaps you may need to hire someone else who can optimize the CSS loading, whether it's for WordPress or Shopify, because all web pages load the same for Chrome browser. So now looking at this, from that particular CSS file, which was in here somewhere, public bundle, where is it? So this is my local copy, but if you have installed your own website, then in your cPanel, you'll see that. If you're using Shopify, then its theme Liquid may be helpful to edit the code. Now that's bundle.client. Where is it? That's the file. As you can see, there's a lot there, but only this was used. So now I can say, you know what? Let me make a backup. Grab everything, delete all, paste it in there. Before I paste it in there, I can do CSS minify. There are many online tools that help you minify the CSS. So that's minified. So now that's a leaner, cleaner code, because we know what's been used. We know what's been used, whether it's on mobile or desktop. I can compare both files to say, is there any new rules? So that's one way. Next, I'll show you WordPress example, because I have the code for it. But as I've said, you can follow this process for your content management system. Let's grab functions.php. These are my own functions. So now I can upload this to the web server. So basically I've uploaded a file. Now I'm going to find out what plugins, CSS files, what JavaScript files has been loaded on this landing page. So there are apps and plugins that will help you to identify what CSS or what JavaScript has been loaded. In my example, it is this here. So this code, I've just identified what they were, which was this here. So before I forget, let me upload that. Now we can see for WordPress, it's this. I know it looks gibberish, but I need to clean the code up. Let's clean that out. Let's clean that out too. Okay. These were the JavaScript. These were the CSS files. That's admin, don't want that. But now what you can do is you can group different CSS files into one. For WordPress, how would you do that? You can use the functions that will help you to do that. As in, you can use WordPress built-in functions to deregister the style sheet depending on which JavaScript files are loaded and which parts of your website it's loaded. You can perhaps deregister them and only call them when they are needed. You can group CSS files. You can also group JavaScript files. You can do that for WordPress. You can do that for Shopify. And depending on the content management system, you can do that for your content management system if it allows you to modify the code. So, to be able to fix largest Contentful pain at basic level, double check your own website. Look at page speed insights, look at the audit report, and understand that LCP is showing you the page load times, saying by the time this is shown to a real person, it has taken 2.5 seconds in this example on a mobile visit, or 4 seconds, as in longer than 4 seconds. Then, using caching plugins, that could be helpful. Double check the plugins or apps that you're using. Try not to use too many of them unless it's absolutely necessary. Then look at the image size, especially for mobile, because mobile screen real estate is small. So if you have one image that's 2000 pixels in height, 1000 pixels in width, then loading that may not be smart on a mobile device. Most content management systems allow you to set source set. If yours doesn't, perhaps you may be able to do that, as in show different sizes depending on the device a person visits your web page with. Then the images that you have that is below the fold, you can lazy load them, as in use browser default, loading equals double quote lazy, close the double quote. Also, you can use decoding async for images that is below the fold. Images that is above the fold should not be lazy loaded. For videos, if your website is publishing videos, there are different ways to load videos as well. I won't cover that because that could be cumbersome. In this example, this video has not been loaded unless someone clicks and then it's loaded. So it's not part of the page load per se. And if the page load is really slow, I've shown you how to identify CSS that's being used, and perhaps you can group them. So instead of calling 5 different style sheet files, you can call perhaps 3. You can do the similar method for JavaScript files. You can minify them and so on. There are many plugins that will show you what style sheets what JavaScript files are loaded. But if you want to do things manually, then you can look at the network tab, because here you will see what scripts, what style sheets are loaded as well. You can look at the initiator as well to see which file initiated a different file. So these are your tools to fix Core Web Vitals issues for LCP. Now, most website owners who are managing their own website will find some of these insights too complex. So what I suggest to you is do what you can using caching plugins, reducing the image size. You can easily do that. Double check the plugins or apps that you're using, and then see the reports in Search Console. If at that time you're still seeing LCP issue, especially for longer than 4 seconds, then the next part is you start optimizing the CSS and optimizing the loading of JavaScript. And the easiest way is double checking your web server. You can use ping command to see how long does the server take to respond. You want to look at this time here, and you want to see lower scores, because shared servers are sometimes slow. So if you were to upgrade to a better server that's really fast, or even use content delivery networks such as Cloudflare if your audience is global audience. But if your audience is in Australia, perhaps you want to host your web server in Australia. And I actually do use crazy domains. I thank you for learning with Rankia, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.